In the vast emptiness of space, a blinding, horrifying light pierces the blackness, a vision that abruptly ends when Rhea jolts awake. Disoriented, she finds herself in a strange place, surrounded by visions of violent deaths. But it's another dream. This time, when she wakes for real, she's on the floor of her room, wounded and confused, with no memory of who she is. The station's AORI alerts her to abnormal activity and a power failure. Limping to her feet, Rhea grabs a flashlight and begins to investigate. Bloodstains mark the corridors. She finds a crewmate's lifeless body with a knife lodged in his chest. She takes it before moving on and discovers another corpse in a nearby room. In the control room, Rhea restores the power and opens the main doors, stepping out into an ash-covered dark planet. A body bag lies outside. Suddenly, she sees a shadow mimicking her movements before vanishing. Confused and shaken, Rhea continues exploring until she nearly stumbles off a cliff. Looking up, she sees the same blinding light from her nightmare. She begins to cough violently, weakened by the toxic air, and struggles to return to the station. Stumbling through the ash, she barely makes it back inside. The computer warns that oxygen levels are failing. Then she hears her name being whispered, followed by haunting visions of her crew being attacked. One friend, with a grotesque, decaying face. A flashback appears. Rhea and her crewmates enjoying a meal together. They had wanted to explore the planet, impressed that the air was nearly breathable. Back in the present, Rhea applies a medical patch to her neck and showers, questioning her identity. As she roams the station, images of her teammates' faces flash in her mind. She finds notes about the station and photos of herself tending plants. Suddenly, a noise interrupts her thoughts. The AI detects movement at Zone 1's airlock. Knife in hand, she approaches and sees someone banging on a door. As the figure enters, she tackles him, cracking his helmet. He calls her by name, Brian. She recognizes the name from a flashback and lets him go. He explains he was stationed in orbit, monitoring from above, and came down after receiving her distress signal. According to Brian, one of the crewmates lost control and attacked everyone. Rhea shows him the bodies and admits her memory is fragmented. They realize Clark, another crew member, is unaccounted for. Brian releases a medbot to tend Rhea's injuries and explains Earth had launched 7 ships to find a new home. All others failed. Rhea's crew was the last hope. They landed on KOY 442, a planet they've nicknamed Ash. Brian remained in orbit to maintain Earth contact and step in during emergencies. The light in the sky, Rhea realizes, was his orbital ship. The medbot reveals Rhea's amnesia stems from blunt force trauma. Brian tells her she volunteered for the mission to find answers beyond Earth. That night, Rhea tries to sleep but is disturbed by hallucinations, a crewmate peering through the cracked door and flashes of a horrifying monster. Eventually, she realizes the door never opened at all. Determined, she suits up to remove the bodies from the station, still worried about Clark's fate. Brian insists they focus on survival. Oxygen is running low, and the orbital ship only aligns with the station every 12 hours. They have one window, in just 12 hours. Suddenly, Rhea sees a corpse's face twitch, triggering a terrifying flashback. Panicked, she retreats inside. When Brian checks on her, she lashes out, then isolates herself in a blood-soaked room. As she tries to pick up a pair of scissors, a memory surfaces. She sees herself stabbing a crewmate. Horrified, she runs and applies another patch to suppress the memory. Later, Rhea apologizes to Brian. Watching the storm outside, she admits she keeps reliving the deaths of her friends. Brian reveals she had a romantic relationship with one of them. Their moment is cut short by the AI. A hull breach has caused critical oxygen loss. They suit up and investigate. Rhea finds signs that someone else has already been in the breached area. A strange noise draws her deeper into a narrow space, forcing her to remove her helmet and brave the unfiltered air. Inside, she discovers the loose metal causing the noise, but then a hand reaches out for her, a hallucination that fades instantly. Shaken, she seals the breach. Back with Brian, she tells him about the visions and theorizes that Clark may have contracted a pathogen that caused a psychotic break. Brian insists they forget Clark and focus on survival. He reminds her they've lost 30% of their oxygen and have just 5 hours until the ship aligns. To distract herself, Rhea searches the crew's rooms again. In one memory, Kevin, her boyfriend, plays music for her. Then she sees herself in a lush forest with Kevin beside her, a tunnel glowing with strange energy. Kevin screams in pain, and suddenly Raya sees him being stabbed by her in the station. A monstrous face follows. She wakes up in a cold sweat. Investigating further, she finds a drone and connects it to the medbot. The footage reveals the crew discovering a tunnel covered in strange metal. They conclude the atmosphere was artificially made. Someone had terraformed the planet. When the tunnel glows, it blasts one crewmate, burning his face. Smoke and lightning erupt across the area, captured in other distant locations. Brian interrupts her. Rhea accuses him of hiding the truth. He denies it, saying he only knew the team vanished. She reveals her visions suggest she killed the crew, but she needs to confirm if it's real. She adds that the medicine patches bring back her memories. Brian, growing upset, insists their priority is Earth. The terraforming tech could save humanity. He doesn't trust who Rhea might become without the patches. Later, he returns to apologize. The patches seem to be losing effect, so he applies a second one on her neck. Once alone, Rhea removes one, and a memory returns. A fight. A man attacked her, and she defended herself. Though she stabbed him repeatedly, he wouldn't stop. Hiding under the table, she stabbed his leg, then straddled him and kept stabbing until he died. In the present, she collapses from the emotional toll. But another noise stirs her. She thinks it's Brian, but finds Clark instead. Terrified, Rhea runs and hides, only to discover Brian's charred body in the vent. Clark finds her, and a brutal hand-to-hand fight breaks out. Rhea grabs a welder and torches Clark's suit, then flees. Clark smashes an extinguisher to douse the flames and gives chase. The battle continues through the station, ending in the bathroom. Clark slams Rhea's head against the wall, triggering a memory. Seizing an opportunity, Rhea turns on the shower and forces the water into Clark's helmet, drowning her. Regret sets in. She takes Clark to the medbot, but it's too late. She's dead. The bot detects no infection, suggesting Clark only attacked in self-defense. The station announces lineup alignment. Rhea suits up and boards the shuttle. Inside, she finds blood and damaged controls. The computer fails to boot. She can't reach the orbital ship. She returns to the station, applies more patches, and retrieves Brian's body. The medbot confirms Brian has been dead for 51 hours, longer than possible. The AI detects a new life form. With her welder in hand, Rhea investigates and finds the shadow again. It takes Brian's shape. Rhea realizes this entity used her to kill Clark. The shadow calls itself part of her and touches her forehead, showing her another memory. When the team returned from the planet, they found an alien entity hidden in the walls. This creature had infiltrated the ship's systems, creating the hull breach to spread. The crew wanted to evacuate, but Rhea focused on their mission, convinced them to fight. She examined a sample and discovered self-replicating tech, but the sample escaped and attacked a crewmate, entering through his nose and taking over. That man became violently aggressive. Rhea tried to defend herself but needed to kill him. When Kevin tried to help, the alien jumped from the corpse into him. He turned on Rhea, bashing her head into the wall. Clark intervened and fought Kevin, but he overpowered her and shattered her helmet. Brian arrived and, terrified, ran into the vents, only to be killed. Rhea fitted Clark with a new helmet and forced her outside to safety. Alone, she lured Kevin close and stabbed him. The alien fled his body and entered her forehead wound. Rhea overdosed on medicine, blocking both her memories and the alien's control. The presence haunting her since the beginning was the parasite hiding within her all along. Now the alien, speaking through her mind, declares humanity unworthy of its technology. But Rhea fights back. She removes the patches, clearing her mind. The illusions vanish. Brian was never there. With oxygen nearly gone, Rhea orders the medbot to scan her properly. It finds the parasite and drives a mechanical probe into her head to extract it. The procedure nearly kills her. Her heart stops. She sees light, and then awakens just in time to watch the parasite being pulled out. But the fight isn't over. The alien takes Brian's corpse, mutates it, and attacks again. Rhea stabs it with a screwdriver, suits up, and battles the monster across the station. In the lab, she ignites a spray can with the welder, creating an inferno that burns the alien to death. Finally, Raya sets the entire station ablaze and boards the shuttle one last time. This time, the system works. The engines ignite. She ascends through the planet's atmosphere and docks with the orbital ship, humanity's last hope, alive and free from the infection.